What's going on, college football universe? Gold and Blue Dude here with you again. It just stopped raining, so I decided to do another video, another season preview. Today we're doing TCU. I got my notes. Let's roll. So first I'm going to talk about Gary Patterson. First and foremost, people need to realize, Frog fans, that TCU did not win for Gary Patterson. He's a great coach, so don't be freaking out about last year. There's going to be some growing pains whenever you're cycling like he does, and he does develop players. Franchione, who was the coach before Patterson, he was mediocre at best, but Gary Patterson, he's the one that really put TCU on the map. So for the offense, Doug Meacham and Jerry Kill, they will be in charge of the offense. They got their hands full. Last year, the Frogs went 5-7, 3-6 in the Big 12. They averaged 30 points per game, that's 56, and allowed an average of 26 points per game, that's 57. So they were consistently not good. Max Duggan will be back at quarterback. He does have a lot of growth potential, I will say that. In 2019, he was 181 for 339, 53.4%. That's not good. But he threw for 2,077 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. So he needs to cut back on those interceptions. The bright spot is, like I said, Gary Patterson is good at developing players, especially quarterbacks. Now, they did lose some talent to the NFL. The run game for TCU might be the offensive aspect to keep an eye on in 2020. Of course, you have the five-star running back Zachary Evans coming in. But there's a lot of other new faces that are talented at running back, and they will all be vying for playing time. You have Darwin Burlow. Last year he redshirted. And another freshman, Dominic Richardson. And then you get a little bit of experience with junior Amari Demercado. There we go. So a lot of new talented faces, but not a lot of experience. So that'll be interesting to watch. Tay Barber, wide receiver for TCU. He's back, and he started to become Duggan's go-to receiver towards the end of the year. His stats for 2019, not that great. He had 29 receptions for 327 yards. Not big numbers, but he does have take-it-to-the-house speed. Just ask Texas. TCU upset them last year, and he was one of the big factors. All right, so he'll be coming back. And this will be another building and adjusting year for TCU. You're just going to have a little bit of patience. It's just one of those cycles. They do have offensive line coach Jared Anderson coaching the offensive line, and he'll have his hands full because only center Hoy McMillan will be the only returner. So the offense will definitely be a work in progress, I guess you could say. So, I don't know what to say about it. They could be better than last year because they weren't very good, but all the new faces meshing together might not be good. So, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Alright, so let's talk about TCU's defense. Defensive lineman Ross Blacklock, he was one of TCU's talents, and he left for the NFL early. Last year, TCU did have trouble getting to the quarterback. They only had 22 sacks total. That's about half of what they usually do. They do return defensive end O'Shawn Mathis, who had 20 tackles by himself, 40 altogether, and 2.5 sacks. Defensive end Parker Workman, who had 12 tackles by himself, 18 altogether, and 1 sack. Defensive end Colt Ellison, who had 3 tackles by himself and 7 altogether, and defensive tackle Corey Bethley, who had 12 tackles by himself, 20 altogether, and 2.5 sacks. They do have a transfer from Oklahoma, linebacker Mark Jackson. He didn't really play in 2019, but in 2018 he had some good numbers. 22 tackles by himself, 43 altogether, and 3 sacks. So maybe he can help with getting pressure to the quarterback. Another linebacker to watch for is senior Garrett Wallow. He's a very good talent. In 2019, he had 77 tackles by himself. He's a tackling machine. 125 tackles altogether, 3.5 sacks, and 1 interception. This dude, he is a difference maker. He also had 18 tackles for a loss. You also have safeties Trayvon Morig and Adarius Washington. They both have a knack for knowing where to be, and last year they combined for 9 interceptions, so TCU does have some very good safeties. I definitely look for these 2 safeties to be playing in the NFL in the future. TCU will have, they'll have to replace cornerbacks Jeff Gladley and Julius Lewis, and they'll do that with Trevius Hodges Tomlinson, and yes, he is related to LaDainian Tomlinson. Last year he had 7 tackles by himself, 8 altogether, and 1 pass deflection. And also Keon Stewart will fill in at cornerback. He had 14 tackles by himself, 18 altogether, and 4 pass deflections. And also they have a 4-star cornerback, Keontae Jenkins, who is rated 17th overall as far as cornerback goes by 247. So, a nice blend of inexperience and incoming talent on the defense. I definitely think that the defense will be TCU's strong suit in 2020. Yep, now it's time for my heaven and hell scenarios. Here's my heaven scenario for TCU. Gary Patterson works his magic. Max Duggan takes the next step. The running game is outstanding by committee. We're going up by committee. The defense meshes and becomes a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks, and TCU has a 10-win season. So what's the hell scenario? Well, youth and inexperience bites TCU in the behind. Once again, the defense can't get to the opposing quarterback. Max Duggan keeps throwing interceptions, and the run game falls apart. TCU misses a bowl again, going 5-7 in back-to-back seasons. So let's look at their schedule. First, they start at Cal, Prairie View at home, at SMU, Oklahoma State at home, at West Virginia, Kansas State at home, at Baylor, Oklahoma State at home, Iowa State at home, at Texas, Texas Tech at home, and then at Kansas. What do I think? Gold and Blue Dude prediction? Well, sorry, Frog fans. Pretty much the hell scenario, but not that bad sounding. So it's not the what I explained. Here's why: the defense will keep TCU in games. Like I said, I think the defense will be the strong suit for TCU, and maybe perhaps can allow TCU to pull off some upsets that I have as losses. It's the offense that will keep TCU from going bowling. But I do think Max Duggan will improve. There's not a lot of experience at wide receiver. I think the running game will be decent, but in my opinion, I think 2021 is when TCU will compete for a top spot in the Big 12. Sorry, Frog fans, but I see another 5-7 year. This year, the top 3 spots I have Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Texas. Pretty much competing for the Big 12 title. Next year, I know this is going to sound crazy, I think it'll be Oklahoma, West Virginia, and TCU that will be competing for the Big 12 championship. So let's look at TCU's schedule and see how I came up with 5-7. So the first game at Cal, I think that's a loss. I think it's a revenge game for Cal, and I think TCU goes to Cal and loses. Then they get Prairie View at home. Win. At SMU, at first I was going to say a half, but I'm going to go ahead and give TCU a win there. And then they get Oklahoma State at home, loss, big loss. At West Virginia, close but loss. Kansas State at home, another close game, still a loss. At Baylor, yet another close game, but still a loss. Then they get Oklahoma at home, loss. They get Iowa State at home. I'm going to give them a win there. At Texas, that's going to be a loss. They get Texas Tech at home, win. At Kansas, win. So the back end of the schedule lightens up a bit, and I think it allows for a few more wins. So maybe there's a few games in there that TCU can pull off an upset and get to a bowl. I see it as another 5-7. But it will be a growing year, and I do think in 2021 TCU will be very, very dangerous. That's all I got for you today. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next preview.